There are some interpretations of Tesla's price cuts as they are bullish, and that Tesla is only trying to expedite the demise of the internal combustion engine. They're really trying to put to the screws, use Guy's term, to the competitors who can't handle price cuts even as much as Tesla can.
I'm hard pressed to see like the bullish version of 4 price cuts. It can't be a good thing. And I'll just say this, that chart, if they could pull up a 5-year chart, this is still, I know that a lot of you guys are emboldened by the 50% rally that it's had off of its lows in January. This is still one of the worst looking charts in the entire stock market. The company is cutting prices. The CEO of the company is doing 5 different things at once.
In this video, the artist formerly known as Tim Seymour, aka Tim C-less, now identifies as somebody who appears to actually understand Tesla. What the hell is going on? This is the very same guy who praised Gordon Johnson for doing God's work, referred to Tesla stock investors as Teslemmings, suggesting that we're drinking the Kool-Aid, has previously, publicly and embarrassingly been short Tesla stock. Anyone recall he's still short Tim? And as predicted on this very channel more than 3 years ago, we are seeing in real time the transformation of the Tesla bears, who once appeared beyond hope. It appears Tim of CNBC has now handed the clown costume and makeup to one of his colleagues, unable to remain bearish on what is obviously one of the most transformative, disruptive and dominant companies we've seen in generations. Better late than never, Tim. It's only a matter of time until everyone on CNBC owns Tesla stock and understands the story. They're not quite there yet, but we're making major progress. Later in this video, we'll also be hearing from a Tesla analyst and long-term bull. And in case you missed it, I continue to document the inevitable demise of Toyota over on Patreon, along with many other things, this time detailing their latest plans to be bankrupt well and truly before the end of the decade. If you're not a member of Patreon, you can join with the card in the corner or the link at the pinned comment.
There are some interpretations of Tesla's price cuts as they are bullish, and that Tesla is only trying to expedite the demise of the internal combustion engine. They're really trying to put to the screws, use Guy's term, to the competitors who can't handle price cuts even as much as Tesla can. And there's, Piper had a chart out there. It's an interesting chart that it says every time wait times get below 4 to 6 weeks on the Model 3, they start cutting prices. And they do this because they're playing offense, not defense. Again, an interpretation. I'm not chasing this. I think this stock's wildly expensive, and I think there will be some demand. But Tesla is so far ahead that they can probably push the market around.
Anyone get the sense Tim's a little torn, still attached to his identity as a Tesla bear, yet now starting to accept a little bit of reality? He's not quite ready to come completely out of the Tesla bear closet, or would I say maybe the bear cave? Where do they hibernate? I don't know, whatever. But he's getting there, slowly. He's admitting they have pricing power. He's admitting other companies can't compete with Tesla on price. Watch this space. As I predicted more than 3 years ago, we'll see the real-time transformation of the talking heads in the finance media and stock analysts and people in the general public as they start to understand the Tesla story. It was just a few years ago that Tim, who I've regularly referred to as Tim Seymour and Tim C-less for good reason, legitimately thought Tesla was going bankrupt, and also thought that the competition was coming for Tesla instead of all over themselves. We're seeing Tim change his tune quite rapidly, at least by finance media standards. CNBC still needs somebody to say idiotically bearish things about Tesla that make no sense, just for entertainment value. It's a good thing that the gigantic vagina known as Dan is here to explain why Tesla's still in big trouble, the competition's coming, Elon Musk is a fraud and a liar, and f*** you, and I'm not emotional, f*** you. I'm being very rational. Tesla's shit, f*** you, I hate Elon Musk, he's a bad person, die. Now some of you may be thinking, Stephen, aren't you being a little harsh on Dan? The answer, of course I am. Why would I be so harsh on somebody? Well, here's the problem. Believe it or not, there are actually NPCs out there who outsource their thinking to people who undeservingly have a pedestal known as the finance media. That guy's on CNBC. He's wearing his suit. He must know what he's talking about. I'm going to do what he's doing. The unearned credibility of appearing in the mainstream finance media can be a dangerous weapon in the hands of a moron. This is why my criticism is so pointed and harsh, because there are people out there who actually think that the things that these folks say make sense. They don't think for themselves. I do my best to discredit idiots who say idiotic things in the finance media to save people who are a little bit too stupid to think for themselves from doing idiotic things with their money. You may recall my 35-ish videos explaining the fraud that was, the obvious fraud that was, Nikola. The reason I was so harsh on that company too was to try and save dumbasses from themselves. This is not politically correct to say, but these are the facts. So the harshness of my comments and criticism are in direct proportion to the potential damage and harm that these clowns could cause from their unearned pedestal of faux credibility known as being in the finance media.
And you could be in both camps simultaneously.
Yep.
You can believe that Tesla's on the offensive, but still they're going to be overvalued and not worth buying.
Yeah, there's two ways to look at them cutting prices. One is because they're not getting enough demand and they have to cut prices, which is one opinion. The other is that, they're on the offense. They want to cut prices here because they can and they have the margins to do so.
Just in case you're new around here, it's the latter. The reason Tesla is cutting prices is because they can. And they kind of told us that they would do this 17 years ago, as I've discussed recently here on YouTube. It's in their fucking master plan. Tesla's publicly stated goal since 2006 has been to drive down the cost of electric vehicles as fast as possible to enable more consumers globally to be able to afford to purchase an electric vehicle as fast as possible. As Tesla drives their costs down, or can afford to reduce prices and suffer slightly lower margins for a short period of time, they will do so. This is how they scale to 20 plus million electric vehicles produced and sold in a single year by the end of this decade, give or take. It troubles me that there are people who will completely ignore Tesla's own 17-year-old master plan. Why are they cutting prices? They must be doing. They told us what they were going to do. They've been doing that for more than a decade and a half. Call me crazy. You're probably right. But if a company tells us their strategy, they explain, here's our strategy to sell more vehicles. This is exactly what we're going to do. And then, over the next decade and a half, and then some, they actually do exactly what they said they were going to do. Call me crazy, but I think it's a little bit arrogant to suggest that the reason they're doing exactly what they said they were going to do in their very clear strategy back in 2006, it's a little bit arrogant for you to say, oh, no, they're not doing it because that's exactly what they told us they were going to do and it's part of their strategy. No, I've got a better reason. I know why they're really doing what they're doing. Maybe that's just me.
And it's going to be extremely, really an issue for their competitors. Think of like a Lucid or Rivian who is burning cash right now, and they don't have the cash to burn, whereas Tesla does. And I think it's going to put them in a position where they can probably put some of their competitors out a lot quicker. I think that's probably part of the reason of what they're trying to do.
I'm hard pressed to see like the bullish version of 4 price cuts.
What a surprise. Dan, the most stoic, unemotional, rational member of the CNBS panel, can't understand why Tesla cutting prices like they said they were going to do 17 years ago is positive for the company. I wonder why Dan may be unable to understand this. Spoiler alert, the answer is because emotions are clouding his judgment. There is a reason I call him a gigantic vagina, and don't get me wrong, I love vaginas. But no matter what you say, no matter the evidence, Dan has decided Elon bad, therefore Tesla bad, therefore everything about Tesla bad, the end. I really genuinely think that this guy's just on the panel for entertainment value. Although I do have a word of caution for his colleagues. There is nothing more dangerous than a man who can't control his emotions. I'm just saying. Oh, there's also nothing more repulsive to a woman than a man who cannot control his emotions. And one final note on emotions. Those are things you should absolutely leave at the door when it comes to making investment decisions. And if you ever see indications that you are acting emotionally when it comes to investing, red fucking alert.
If we were talking about Apple, and we just spent 5 minutes talking about Apple, and we talked about 4 price cuts for like some of their premier products to kind of, it would just be another conversation. It would just be a totally other conversation. And so to me, when you think about cars, you think about this looming recession we have, you think about what it costs to finance a purchase of this stature now for most people. It can't be a good thing. And I'll just say this, that chart, if they could pull up a 5-year chart, this is still, I know that a lot of you guys are emboldened by the 50% rally that it's had off of its lows in January. This is still one of the worst looking charts in the entire stock market.
Is this guy really that dumb? I'm just kidding. He is. But let's pretend that I don't know the answer, that this guy's an actual fucking potato. He seems to be suggesting that the chart, as in the historical track record of the collecting, buying and selling activities of participants in the stock market on this particular security, tells us anything about the company itself. It has literally nothing to do with the company's execution. There may be some general correlations here and there, but you have to understand, the company's execution is entirely independent of whether people choose to buy the stock or sell the stock on a particular day, whether a fund is dumping the stock or buying the stock, whether a retail investor decides it's finally time to buy the stock or sell the stock, or whether an investor decides to do nothing and just hold. These are completely detached from each other. This is one of the worst looking charts in the stock market. Talk about the company, Dan, not the chart. Not the stock's performance, talk about the company. Let's for a moment though, indulge in Dan's delusion. After all, who doesn't like a bit of roast potato? According to Dan, this 5-year chart on Tesla stock is one of the worst looking in the stock market. Call me crazy, but up 833% in 5 years. To me, I wouldn't be complaining about that. In fact, I'm not complaining. I'm quite happy with that. You know what makes this chart one of the worst looking in the stock market in my opinion? If you suffer from small brain syndrome, your IQ is 101, 102, 103 and you think it's 160, you may believe that you're smart enough to outsmart the stock market and therefore you trade Tesla stock because you're a genius. In that case, I can understand why Dan would not really like this chart because it's a little bit volatile and a little bit unpredictable. Of course, if you recognize your IQ isn't 4 standard deviations above average, so I'm actually not Einstein, therefore I'll just buy and hold. Next minute, up 833%. I think what Dan's really trying to say is that the 5-year Tesla stock price chart has exposed the idiocy of trading stocks, the idiocy of trying to time the market, and the idiocy of thinking stocks astrology makes any goddamn sense. I mean, really, let me ask the question. Up 833%? Who would be disappointed with that? Answer, the people that thought they were smart enough to time the market. They may have missed out on significant portions of this. For example, from 2018, April 13th, up until February 2020, Tesla stock up 200%. Maybe you thought, oh, look, I've looked 200%. Man, I've tripled my money. Time to sell out. I'm a genius. Next minute, the stock runs almost 400% after you sold to lock in your profits because you're a genius trader.
Oops, I'll buy it now. Again, it'll keep going up, right?
Next minute, it's down 33%. Oh, don't worry, it went up. Oh, but it's going to go higher. Wait, oh no, it's down. Oh, it's down 26%. Oh, shit, fuck you, Elon, it's your fault.
Stop having opinions, you dick.
Down almost 60%. Still down 36% since you decided to rebuy Tesla stock after selling it because you're a genius who can time the market. You know, there's a saying that comes to mind.
Complexity appeals to stupid people.
You know what's simple? Buy and hold. You know what's complicated? Trying to outsmart the market and trade around an extremely volatile security. Trader mentality, it's like a loaded gun. Very dangerous, often fatal.
I'm just going to tell you that right now. It's a series of lower highs. It's a series of lower lows. The company is cutting prices. The CEO of the company is doing 5 different things at once. Literally, he's a CEO of 5 different companies at once.
Another wonderful example of small brain syndrome. Dan is focusing on things that do not matter. It doesn't matter how many companies Elon is running. It doesn't matter what Elon is doing when he's not running a certain company. What matters is how the company you're referring to is executing. It doesn't matter that Elon Musk found time to beat Elden Ring. By the way, best fucking game in half a decade. Tesla continued to execute. SpaceX continued to execute. Twitter has been transforming. Neuralink making great progress. So too, the Boring Company. What matters are the results, the execution. Everything else is an irrelevant sideshow. What matters are results. Everything else is noise. It's like these faces.
Elon, stop tweeting so much. You should be doing something more important than tweeting, Elon.
And like, if we do have this recession that everyone's expecting here, I just don't know how a company like this is going to avoid some of the issues. We might be talking about 8 price cuts this year.
Hopefully, because that'll mean Tesla continues to execute and gets their mission, driving their costs down, passing those cost savings on, and flexing their gigantic, big swinging PP, known as pricing power. The real question is, if there is a recession, a decent chance, and it massively impacts the automotive industry, it would, which automotive manufacturer stands the best chance? Or even better question, which automotive manufacturer might capture market share and accelerate their already unassailable lead? Is it the company already producing the vehicle that every consumer on Earth will be wanting to purchase within a few years' time, about half do today? Electric vehicles? Would a company who has such a compelling product that almost everybody wanting to buy an electric vehicle wants their electric vehicle? Would it be the company with industry-leading profit margins, insane pricing power, the ability to massively reduce the price to purchase their vehicles while still making more money on every vehicle sold than any other automotive company on Earth? These are questions worth asking in the event of a recession. And per my 2020 video, a recession is the best thing that could possibly happen to Tesla. Now, if you're a one-dimensional thinker,
What are you talking about? Recession's bad.
Context. We need to think a little bit more broadly than just Tesla. What happens to the rest of the automotive industry? If consumers are starting to tighten the purse strings, hang on a minute, I don't know if I can really afford this shit. Maybe I'll just, you know what, I'm not going to buy a vehicle this year or next. I'll wait a few more years. And by that time, I'll probably just buy an electric vehicle anyway, because they're pretty cool. What's going to happen in the event of a recession is that ICE vehicle sales will collapse. And I mean collapse. They're already collapsing. This will just accelerate things. Consumers who would previously have purchased another ICE vehicle, because they haven't done the math, they don't realize it's already cheaper on a lifetime ownership basis to actually get an EV today. Consumers who foolishly would have purchased an ICE vehicle will put that purchase off. And by the time they're ready to buy a new vehicle, the penny will have dropped and they'll realize they'd have to be a fucking moron to buy an ICE vehicle. A recession is the best thing that could happen to Tesla. It is a huge opportunity. It will accelerate the inevitable demise of many of Tesla's so-called potential future maybe competitors if they can actually ramp up profitable production at scale of compelling electric vehicles. Lots of ifs along the way. It just means a few Titanics will sink faster, and Tesla's already unassailable lead will extend even further.
Well, speaking of Elon Musk, let's talk about Tesla. Shares moving to the upside today, up just about 2% with about 40 minutes to go until the closing bell. The EV giant announcing this week that it's building a megapack battery factory in Shanghai, China. But what does this all mean for Tesla's broader expansion plans? Joining me now, Dan Ives is here in studio, Wedbush Managing Director and Senior Equity Analyst. We've also got our autos reporter, Pras Subramanian, here at the desk with us. Dan, what do you just give us a sense of how significant this is and why specifically Shanghai, do you think?
Well, I mean, the hearts and lungs of Tesla are in China. And regardless of all the talk out there, I mean, they're doubling down on China in terms of this battery factory. And you look at what they've done in terms of just manufacturing. I mean, China, not just from a supply, but demand perspective, that continues to be one of the key ingredients for success. I think that was almost a flex the muscles moment in terms of what you saw here.
So I think it makes sense for them to build these battery packs in China where the materials are, the expertise is, you can build them cheaply. Do you think Tesla can kind of shake off the governmental sort of overreach there? Can they kind of, have them ignore that and still kind of perform there? Or is it going to be a overhang for the company as Washington kind of gears up against China?
Sure, it's great. I mean, with Big Brother watching in Beijing, I mean, look, that's the tightrope that both Musk as well as Cook walk in terms of what we've seen. I mean, that's where production for iPhone as well as a lot of the Model 3 and Model Ys are. Look, I think ultimately, they'll start to build out in the U.S., but I think this is a signal, and I expect Musk to also be spending some more time in China. That's one of their core advantages in terms of what you see with the Gigafactory there. And you look at batteries, I mean, that is really going to be the sort of the golden goose in terms of going forward.
Hey, Dan, you mentioned maybe we could see more plants, more factories here within the U.S. Musk has a goal of 20 million vehicles to be produced by the year 2030. If that goal is going to be achieved, how many plants do you think could potentially be necessary?
Look, I think it's first thing first, right? Making sure they don't trip over their shoelace. I mean, especially right now, they're cutting prices. Demand's been strong, but I mean, that's a balance, especially with the price war in China. But you see in terms of Mexico, I think Indonesia's next. You're going to continue to see more and more factories out there, but that's going to require CapEx. And I think it's also important right now that if you look at what's happening in Europe, you look at Austin, I think those are the keys in terms of Berlin as well as Austin, ramping those. And of course, in longer term, there's going to be a lot more things behind that.
Do you think Canada is the most likely destination, given the IRA sort of influence there?
I think it checks every box. And I think when you look at Canada, you look at Indonesia, those are the ones that make the most sense.
What do you guys and girls think? Let me know in the comments below. Where will the next Tesla factories be? I've already shared my thoughts in the past, in detail over on Patreon. I'm not going to repeat myself here because I don't want to influence the responses, but please let me know in the comments below. What are your best guesses for where Tesla will build factories next? And feel free to explain your reasoning.
And then of course they'll continue to expand. I think for right now, I think you take a step back, it is really the scale and scope. I mean, you look at a lot of the other, whether it's Lucid, whether it's some of the 313 area code, GM, Ford, a lot easier said than done. I think right now, that's why they're trying to put an iron fence around their backyard.
What about Mexico, the new plant that they announced there that is located there? How critical is that just in terms of Tesla diversifying its supply chain and really getting ahead of any potential types of issues?
Well, also it's about a sub $30,000 car. I mean, you're not getting a sub 30K car if that's being built in Europe or Austin. And I think it's sort of carrot and the stick. That's what everyone's waiting for here. But because to get to, as you talk about, some of the longer term goals, you need to be mass market, you need to be sub 30,000. But then I think the big debate going into next week is margins. Like, what do margins look like? We believe at least this quarter they'll be able to sort of toe the line in the sand. But if you continue to get significant price cuts, look, that's the work. Look, I think we're going to get more price cuts. I think they're containable. But I think, especially in China, that's really right now the biggest variable. They've been able to navigate, I think, extremely well. That's why the stock's done what it's done. But I think that continues to really be navigating this next step is what investors are focused on.
So do you think these sort of 5 price cuts this year alone, is that really indicative of a demand problem? Or is it more about them sort of going after competition like GM and Ford and just sort of growing the market share?
Look, I think it's a softer macro, and I think we saw that last year. So you got to just read the room, rip the Band-Aid off, and that's what they've done. So I think the first step has been what I view as just a massive poker move that's paid off. but it's competition. Whether it's 313 Eric, whether it's Europe, you got Lucid, you got everyone coming. They can't just sit there high in their chair and not cutting prices. And I think that's essentially what's happening now. But because of the margins, they have that flexibility. Look, the haters are going to continue to hate on Tesla no matter what they do. So far this year, it's been a massive bet. Next week's important just in terms of that margin story. That's really going to be the front and center.
Dan, how worried should Tesla be about competitors? Obviously, it probably has something to do with the price cuts, but just given the number of EV models, new EV models that have either been brought to market already or with plans to come to market, a number were on display at the New York Auto Show this year. How big of a threat do you see some of those models being specifically to Tesla?
Before Dan answers, let me reframe the question. How worried should a top G be about a self-hating basement-dwelling adult virgin potentially stealing his girlfriend or girlfriends? Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's still Tesla's world, everyone else paying rent in terms of EV landscape. But in terms of everything Mary and the team are doing at GM, I think that's probably the one that could have the biggest ripple effect. That's competitively speaking, but you got lower price cars. You look at what's happening on the Cadillac. You got a lot of the models coming out, over the coming years. I think that's the broader thing, is that you have what I'll call an EV arms race going on, but I do not view it as a zero-sum game. I mean, I view this as, it's a green tidal wave, the biggest transformation to the auto industry since 1950s, but at the top of that mountain is Musk and Tesla, and everyone's trying to play catch-up.
So far, really, Tesla's the only kind of EV maker at scale, right, across the globe. We talked about GM and Ford earlier today in the green room. They're coming on strong, new competition. Are there any sort of potential hiccups for them trying to get to scale? Like, I feel like that is a very difficult thing for any automaker, let alone legacy, to get to that EV scale.
Obviously, Praz is unaware that every single automotive manufacturer on planet Earth has a magic button that they can press as soon as they decide to start coming after Tesla instead of embarrassingly fast and all over themselves. They just press a button and magically they've caught up. According to the Tesla bears who've been saying the competition is coming, as soon as they decide to come, just press that button. Done. It's almost like Praz thinks it will actually take work and capital and talent and incredible execution for these companies to survive. This guy's obviously been watching Russian disinformation on YouTube.
One, also, it's easier when Tesla's doing it under a different magnascope and microphone, because you look what's happened with GM, maniacal focus by the street in terms of margins, but yet Tesla was held to a different standard because of credit. So I do believe it's an apples to oranges comparison. I think GM, I think what Farley and Ford are doing are, I think, great steps, but easier said than done in terms of that scale, production, battery. But I do believe we sit here 2-3 years from now, I think GM could be a double, in my opinion.
Well, I'm not dumb enough to make a short-term prediction about a stock price, so I've got no idea if GM's stock will double, but as we discussed earlier in this video, the thing that matters is execution. I can make a prediction about GM in 2 to 3 years though. They will be selling significantly less vehicles than they do today. And GM won't have done it, won't matter, won't have led, and Mary B. Aspara will hopefully be on her way out. It's kind of hard to take Dan seriously. On the one hand, he makes a lot of great points about Tesla, and on the other hand, he thinks companies like GM credibly have a chance of surviving. Not only that, but according to his prediction, using the stock price as a proxy, thriving in their transition to EVs. Dan is in for a rude awakening.
As they ultimately find success converting to that massive EV base. And that, along with Tesla and some of the pure plays like Lucid, you look at NIO, XPeng, and some others in China, there's not just one way to play it. Tesla continues to be our favorite play.
And Tesla continues to be my only play, at least in the stock market still. Don't own any other stocks, not planning on buying any other stocks, haven't sold any Tesla stock, and yes, I am still buying Tesla stock with every spare cent. It puzzles me somewhat that people would think that it makes sense to bet on a very, 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 very distant second, third, or fourth place without having a very good reason as to why at some point they can surpass Tesla. I think the reason that most people would do this is because they don't actually trust in their own thinking and reasoning, and hey, that's totally fine. If you don't trust yourself, I get it. I'm just saying, if you're able to determine a clear and obvious winner who happens to have an unassailable lead, and you can look far enough into the future and have a fairly high level of confidence that your thesis is on point, and continue to monitor the situation just in case. I just literally don't understand the mindset of, why don't I bet on a few others as well? Everyone is entirely welcome to do whatever the fuck they want. I just don't understand that strategy. If things were neck and neck, it's a different story. But bro, second place literally needs a telescope to see Tesla. Speaking of telescopes, I think Tim Seymour would need one to see his past self. He's come so far in terms of his thoughts around Tesla, From hating the company, thinking that they were going bankrupt, that everyone who owned the stock was a moron, drinking the Tesla Kool-Aid, a Teslemming in his own words, and praising Gordon Johnson for doing God's work, direct quote, to recognizing that Tesla is in a dominant position, has incredible pricing power, doesn't even need to be cutting prices, but is, and that the competition has in fact been coming all over themselves rather than for Tesla for the last 15 or so years. I think we finally know the answer to the question, are you still short, Tim? Clearly not. Better late than never, my friend. Welcome to reality. Tim is no longer the laughing stock of the finance media. The baton has finally been passed to none other than the world's largest vagina, Dan. You know, I should probably warn people before I say something controversial or triggering. So, trigger alert. I know this is an extremely controversial opinion, but if you don't give your body everything it needs to optimally function, not to survive but to thrive, you probably won't feel as good and you probably won't be as good as you could. Athletic Greens AG1 is a great way to fill in nutritional gaps. Everything you can possibly imagine. We've got vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, vitamin B6, folate, B12, biotin, pantothenic acid, calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, zinc, selenium, copper, manganese, chromium, sodium, potassium. Look at all the other stuff in here as well. You are not getting everything that's in Athletic Greens AG1 through your diet. It's just not possible. It's 2023. We know a lot about human physiology and biology, and we know that the body needs certain things for optimal performance. Again, if you're happy with just getting by and just making do, this is not for you. But if you really want to get the most out of life, giving your body everything it needs to feel and perform your best is a non-negotiable. I'll never understand people who are satisfied with average. I know there are people like that. I'm just not one of them, and I can't even put myself in the mindset of somebody who's like, yeah, well, you know, I'll just get by. It's just pay my lousy bills and no. It's just, I just can't. It's not in my DNA. And if you can relate, I implore you, try Athletic Greens AG1. There's a 90-day money-back guarantee. Athletic Greens AG1 is an excellent way to fill in nutritional gaps, which we all have. It features 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients. I just had a look at a bunch of them right here. Plus, prebiotics and probiotics and digestive enzymes and adaptogens to help you deal with stress. If you head to athleticgreens.com/SMR or use the link at the pinned comment, you get a 1-year free supply of vitamin D3 and K2, and you'll be well on your way to feeling and performing your best. If you're somebody who's always looking to gain an edge, this is an absolute no-brainer. Here's what some viewers of the channel have to say. My mental game has improved greatly with AG1. Didn't expect this, but man, I really needed it. AG1's been an absolute game changer in my life. 3 months in, I continue to have more energy, especially in the mornings, and to hit it harder at workouts. Plus, continue to have mental sharpness, feel more driven to succeed in both my business growth as well as my personal life goals. And this has snowballed into a new sense of peace, lower anxiety, and a refocus on priorities in life, family, friends, and better work-life balance. I never feel overwhelmed with anything. I noticed 3 things with AG1. Chronic heartburn is gone, my digestion is more regular, I'm more alert, and I wake up with a raging heart on every morning. Make the most of it. From a female viewer, AG1 is for the ladies. I've been drinking it now for 2 months. My cycle used to be awful, no more. Headaches, nausea, and cramps are history. Fatigue is a thing of the past. And fellas, if she's ever in the mood, get her some AG1. An increase in her libido. Moving on, this user on day 8 of Athletic Greens. A few key highlights here: decreased anxiety, overflowing energy. P.S. I think they put crack in this stuff. Another one, AG1 has relieved my gut issues so that my IBS is far more manageable. It's cleared my skin, it's elevated my mood, not to mention my cognitive abilities at work. I'm running rings around my colleagues in terms of motivation and drive, and I'm only on my 2nd month. Another, AG1 has given me a lot more energy. I hope you're finding productive ways to use it, my friend. Just received my 2nd pouch of AG1 and I find improvement in short-term memory and not napping during the day as I did pre-AG1. And one more. Day 30 of AG1 and I cannot explain to you how much better I'm feeling. My social anxiety is so much better. I did not expect this to help so much, but it has. I feel energized, ready to do things. I've been staying on top of things for the first time in years. If you haven't tried it already, really truly try it. I was a skeptic. I did not at all believe it was going to help, and it has significantly. Now, believe it or not, these are the rule, not the exceptions to the rule. Day after day, more testimonials continue to roll in. People are trying Athletic Greens AG1, and almost everybody feels positive effects, whether it's mood, cognition, sleep, energy, reduction in anxiety. For some strange reason, it almost seems that if you give your body everything it needs to feel and perform its best, it'll feel and perform its best. What a crazy idea. For me personally, the biggest effect by far I've experienced from Athletic Greens AG1 is a massive increase and sustained boost in energy. Before I started taking Athletic Greens AG1, I was getting tired every afternoon. I was hitting a wall around 3 or 4 p.m. I felt so tired, I just wanted to take a nap. Thank that is now a thing of the past. The biggest issue I have now every day is finding ways to use all of my energy. So what are you waiting for? Head to athleticgreens.com/SMR or use the link in the pinned comment. Start your daily health habit now and let me know how you're feeling in a few weeks' time. And with your newfound surge in energy, you'll have plenty of time to watch the over 300 exclusive videos available on Patreon and counting fast. If you're not a member, you can join with the card in the corner or the link in the pinned comment. I'll see you over there. Love ya.